Hello guys, Adam here from the Switch Indie Fix, and today I am bringing you episode 14 of the Switch Indie Fix podcast. It's the 11th of November here in a very overcast looking Vienna, very dark skies. But even though it's dark skies here, we have a bit of sunshine blazing through as we have a very special guest today. Today our special guest is Bastien. Bastien, say hello.
Hey Adam, hey listeners, hey viewers on the YouTube and the live stream.
So yeah, hey to you too. Bastian's joining us all the way from Denmark, so we have a very continental European podcast today. Usually it's two British guys. Today we have a British guy living in Vienna and a Greenlander living in Denmark. So yeah, I hope you guys are all going to enjoy. And so Bastian's here today as to be my very special co-host and also to talk about his new endeavors. Bastien, why don't you explain a little bit about yourself, about your background with the Switch, and what you're kind of working on at the minute.
Right. So I've in early September I got the Switch, and immediately I thought I have a YouTube channel and I wanted to do a review, and I was like, is Switch in 2018 really worth it? So I did a review, a very late review, even compared to when I got the Switch.
Yeah.
So I did the review and uploaded it, and it's now on my tech YouTube channel, which only has, 8 videos. So I really need to be doing something about that.
Yeah.
But now that I have a Switch, I want to do more Switch-related stuff.
Content.
Yeah, like there's this controller that I'm looking at, 8-Bit Duo. Have you heard about the company?
Yeah.
Yeah. They make some great controllers that Switch compatible,
Yeah,
and
so,
I want to talk about those on the channel, and I also want to do some game reviews and maybe a bit of game dev stuff. And I'm also working on a podcast. I'm not promising when it's going to be live, but we'll just have to see.
So, where can people find your YouTube? Even though you have 8 videos, what is the channel name? It's just your
it's
name?
Bastian Does Tech. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the channel name.
Yeah.
I got a Twitter account which is Bastian Inuk, BASTIANINUK.
Okay, cool. And for those people, I will add those in the description. The people that want to join Bastien, I'll follow him on YouTube. I guess now we'll get on with the show. Just some slight reminders. We are actually live streaming the show right now on Instagram. So if you'd like to watch next week's show, make sure you go to my Instagram, Switch Indie Fix. So Instagram.com/Switch Indie Fix. Follow me there and you can see us talking together live, which is pretty cool. We've got a few people in the audience, which is always nice. It's great if you want to ask us some live questions there. We can answer them straight away. And as always, I need your guys' questions for next week's show. So if you have any Nintendo Switch, or indie game related questions, make sure you go to switchindiefix.com/SIF podcast. You can fill out the Google form there and ask me any questions you like. Just like a couple of guys did this week, which was really nice. So thank you to those people that did go over and ask some question. So as always, let's get on with section 1 of the show, which is the news. And this week there is 7 items on the list. That's half a baker's dozen. There's actually quite a lot of items on the list this week. It was quite a heavy news week, which is nice compared to the last couple of weeks that I've kind of not recorded because there wasn't really that much to talk about. But we have 7, and then I kind of did some shout outs at the end, which are just kind of like updates to news stories we've already talked about. So let's get on with the news. And first on the list this week is whether you like it or not, the YouTube app is now available on the Nintendo Switch. So yes, you heard me right. You can now watch YouTube videos on the Nintendo Switch, which is fantastic news for guys of you that which is fantastic news for you guys, as you can watch the Switch Indie Fix podcast now on your Switch. Instead of playing these amazing indie games that we talk about, you can watch mine and Bastian's beautiful faces talk about the games instead. I personally don't really care too much about the announcement. I have like countless other places I can watch the Switch. Like right now, you guys can't really see, but I have 2 computers here, a smartphone over there is my PlayStation, all of which I'd rather watch YouTube on. But yeah, what do you think about the news, Bastien, as
For
a
me,
YouTuber?
it's great that YouTube's finally arrived on the Switch.
Mhm.
Mainly because Michael and I enjoy watching casting from the casting from our phones and then adding a
Yeah.
queue. And sometimes we like to like when we cuddle in the living room and then we're like, oh man, we're so tired, we should brush our teeth, and then we can
Mhm.
take the Switch with us and just
Yeah,
dug
yeah.
it
Go to bed.
in the bed and continue our queue without
Mhm.
hassle, where before you had to do some hackery with making the queue into a playlist. And
Mhm. Yeah,
so
it's very which I didn't, to be honest, didn't really think about, because I was kind of personally thinking like, well, why would you want to watch a YouTube video on such a small screen? But I didn't really think about the ease of like, you sat on the sofa and you have the Switch docked, and then maybe you want to, yeah, like you say, go to bed or go to the kitchen to make dinner. It's like, okay, I can just take it with me, put it on the
yeah,
side,
exactly.
put the kickstand in. It's actually, like, the more I think about it, the more I think, yeah, it's a good idea. Still, I've since the announcement, I've only used it once, and that was to take a photo of the podcast on the Switch. So like I say, I don't really know how much I will use it, but I did actually kind of do a little bit of research into it. I went on to the Nintendo Switch Amino, which is kind of like Reddit, but I guess it's just like a mobile app that you go on, and you can go on and look for any subject you want. I'm like a member of the Nintendo Switch one, and I asked them, what did I ask them? Does anyone really care about YouTube on a Nintendo Switch? And I actually got quite a few like answers, which I was surprised about. And the first one was from a user called Link, and he says, if I'm studying and using my phone to study, I'll use my Switch now for it to watch YouTube, because it's my only other portable mobile device that has YouTube. And then he says, anyways, I'm stoked about the announcement. Maximilian states that he's absolutely he absolutely cares about it. Since day one, people have wanted YouTube on the Switch, and now he thinks it's probably going to be Netflix, which will be the next app on it. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised myself. Like I say, I have so many. I guess I'm lucky. I've got so many places to watch YouTube that I don't really like. I never really considered the Switch. I always like that. I like that the Switch doesn't have so many like third party apps. That it is just like for games, and there's not so many like gimmicky things, like, there's no web browser, there's no real social media like inputs or portals. It really is just like a gaming machine. But yeah, I guess some people really did want it, and it's pretty cool that that Nintendo or YouTube at least listened and saw a market there and decided to put it on the Switch.
Another plus by YouTube finally hitting the Switch is that
Mhm.
while you might not be a fan of having many apps on the Switch, it
Yeah.
will still open the ports and the possibilities for other apps to actually
Mhm.
arrive on the Switch. Another app that I'm keen to see on the Switch
Yeah.
is, well, there's 2. There's Plex. I don't know if you
Mhm.
have heard about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, where you host your own movies and
Mhm.
series, which would be amazing to have this on the Switch, especially if we could get the offline mode.
Yeah.
So again, this about watching a movie and then bringing it to the bedroom, or
Mhm.
watching a movie in the bedroom and then realizing that, oh shoot, I have to go to work, and then you can take your
Yeah. Yeah.
Switch
Take
with
it
you
with
and
you.
you could,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm also thinking, while it's not as plausible because it's not on other consoles, but my podcast app of choice, I would really love it to see it on any console, really.
Mhm.
Currently,
Yeah.
they only have a web app, a mobile app, and a desktop app for Mac and Windows. It's Pocket Cast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just
Yeah.
my wishes.
I think music is gonna be like a big part of a big thing on the Switch, because I was reading, I think it was on Kotaku, they had an article about how I think the Nintendo 3DS is still like the biggest music player in Japan. because
that's interesting.
so many kids use it for like their MP3s, and now with with Smash coming out, they have this huge music library on there. I think there's like 27 or 28 hours of music just in the game, and it has its own like media player. I think maybe not in the West, but I think in Japan it will become like a thing where kids can put their music onto it and then just put it in their bags, plug in the headphones, and just take it on the way to school with them. Like the portability offers so much more than the other consoles, and like you say, like maybe I think I could imagine it being on the Switch, being like podcast. What's it called? Pod. What was the app you said?
Pocket
Cast.
Cast.
Yeah. Like it would make so much more sense on the Switch because you can download the app. Maybe you could download the podcast to your Switch and then put it in your bag and take it with you away if you don't have a smartphone or something. So yeah, I just thought that was quite interesting. I was more surprised about the reaction and how many people did want it because, like I said, maybe I'm just an old kind of Grinch kind of character. It's like, oh, why would you want YouTube on a Switch? But yeah, I'm happy people are enjoying it. So story 2, which actually broke yesterday, I don't know if you've got it on your docket actually, Bastien, is that Team Cherry and Skybound Games cancelled Holo Knight Physical Edition. So yeah, this kind of broke yesterday, Friday, like early Saturday morning, late Friday night. And yeah, the story goes, after announcing back in March in Variety that Holo Knight would be getting a physical edition, Team Cherry and Skybound Games sadly announced yesterday that they would no longer be able to bring the game physically to consoles. In a tweet from Skybound Games on obviously on Twitter, the publisher stated, "We are saddened to share that we'll no longer be working with Team Cherry Games to bring Holo Knight to new platforms. We absolutely love the game and wish Team Cherry continued success. We look forward to seeing what's next for them." Shortly after the announcement on Twitter, Team Cherry also gave a statement on their blog, saying that we're regretfully announcing the cancellation of physical copies of Holo Knight and our partnership with Skybound Games. As a team of 3 people still in intense production of Holo Knight, taking the game into the retail space, even with the extensive assistance of Skybound, proved more work than we could reasonably manage. In the future, we will investigate other ways to deliver physical versions of Holo Knight, though likely it will be in smaller quantities. We'd like to thank Starbound for the amazing opportunity they provided and for their professionalism and enthusiasm the whole way. So yeah, I just put this in. I felt I know Holo Knight is beloved in the indie scene, and I know a lot of like my listeners and a lot of the people I follow on Twitter are big physical edition collectors. So I guess this is kind of a big blow for them. Do you have any like love for collecting physical games?
I'm really not into physical games. I got 3, and they are all 3 for the PlayStation 4. Okay. And none of them are indie games. I'm not much of a collector.
Yeah, I'm the same. I have, I think, 4 or 5, and they're all Nintendo first-party games. Because now I recently bought like a big SD card for my Switch, so now I'm kind of, for me, I like the digital just to have everything all in one place. Yeah. Sometimes I wish I had more physical copies because they make like nice backdrops for the podcast, or they're like nice posts for Instagram. But I just prefer having stuff digitally.
There are some people who purchase them both digitally and physical just to have them on a shelf and then never, take it out or something. Just unwrapping it and having it to look nice.
And sometimes they don't even unwrap them. They just keep them in the plastic.
Oh,
like the
really?
Plastic cover, yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. Like I can understand for companies like Limited Run and Super Rare Games, which I think will end up picking up. One of them will end up picking up Holo Knight and producing like a limited run of it. I can understand why people collect those because they're like collector's editions. There's only a few thousand made, and once they're sold out, They don't go into production again, which kind of offers like a collective feel to it. But I have no affiliation to physical games, but I know a lot of people do, and I kind of thought this story was interesting. It's interesting to kind of wonder why this kind of partnership ended. Like, was it Team Cherry that they just had so much work to do, and like they said, they're a small team and they couldn't kind of commit any further to producing a wide retail release for the game. Or like, I don't know if you know, but Skybound Games, they have just invested in Telltale's The Walking Dead. So they're trying to bring the final season of The Walking Dead to fruition and like kind of round off the series as a whole. I guess if people don't know, like teams, what they call Telltale Games, they make all these kind of like action, kind of not point and click adventures, but like make your own story games. And they actually went bankrupt. They were like a huge company. I think 280 people lost their jobs. They went bankrupt about 2 months ago. And Skybound, I think it's called Skybound Entertainment. They're the actual people that own Walking Dead. They originally started off as the comics, and then they licensed it to ABC, and then or whatever company in America produces the show. And now they've kind of invested in Telltale to kind of prop it up whilst they finish the final season of the Walking Dead video game. So I was kind of thinking maybe, they've just put a big investment into a dying studio. Maybe they're kind of cutting back on some of their other ventures. Maybe they're saying, okay, we've put so much money into finishing off The Walking Dead. Maybe we can't afford or we can't use resources to kind of get a Holo Knight physical release out. I'm not sure. Like it seems from Team Terry's statement that they do want to eventually do it, and like I said, I think Super Rare Games or Limited Run, someone like that will pick the game up, and there will be a physical version eventually.
Yeah.
So story number 3, which is kind of like a funny story that I've put in, is that the Wii U will be getting an exclusive indie game this year. So yeah, that's right. Time to dig out your old dusty Wii U from under your bed, because indie developers Ultra Dolphin Revolution will be releasing an exclusive indie game on the platform later this fall. I don't know how much later in the fall they can get. Here it's starting to look a lot like winter, so we'll see when this game actually comes out.
It's actually very October weather here.
Really?
Yeah.
Here it's getting cold, and yeah. So the game will be called Sinister Assistant. It's a top-down adventure game with an 8-bit art style. You play as Emulia, a master wizard who likes to give her enemies a chance by holding back her immense strength. The game sees Emulia going on a quest, although it's actually unclear why this quest is taking place, and she'll soon find herself encountering new enemies and dangerous creatures as she travels through different worlds. The game will go on sale for $3.99 or €3.99 in the US, Europe, and Australia Wii U eShops. So yeah, I kind of saw this and thought, why? Why are they doing this? Like, it could be some kind of cute like marketing kind of tactic to be like, okay, yeah, we're releasing a game for a platform that's like kind of dead. There was these games that I think 1 or 2 a year they still release for like the Sega Genesis, and they produce a cart for it and stuff like that, and
really?
then later they port and then later they port the game over to modern platforms. But yeah, they kind of use it as like, okay, this game is an ode to, I don't know, to Mario or to Sonic or to Ninja Gaiden. So we really want to, we've made it in the 16-bit style or the 8-bit style. So we're going to actually first release it on like the Sega Genesis or the NES. And then, yeah, later it comes over. Or maybe, they're just a small team that has been, maybe it's just like a passion project. They first started developing for the Wii U years ago, and now they're so late in development that they're like, okay, we have to put the game out on the Wii U first, and maybe it's just coincidental that they that it kind of is a fun marketing ploy. Like I feel like I would never have heard of this game if it wasn't been released on the Wii U, if you know what I mean. Like the only reason I picked up the story was because I thought it was kind of interesting.
I'm also thinking it might be because it's much easier to get a Wii U dev license. Like literally all you have to do is type in a website. Maybe Adam can post it in the show notes later.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
And then fill out a form, and now you have a Wii U dev license. It's so easy.
Mm-hmm.
It might be that. But then you have to purchase one of the dev units, specific Wii U dev units, which is rather expensive.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. that's it. That might be it. Like they might have invested a lot of, well, not, they've invested in the Wii U dev kit, so they're like, well, why wouldn't we just finish the game on here first, and then maybe they bring it to the Switch. Like I said, it does look very simple. Like it's an indie game in every sense of the manner.
It looks like a NES. NES. What's the Zelda game?
Yeah, it does. It looks like kind of like an ode to Zelda. A little bit less pretty than the original Zeldas. Like I think it looks very blocky, and obviously it's supposed to, but still with pixel art, I think you can make it look a little bit more beautiful, which kind of leads actually into story number 4, since we're talking about Zelda. Zelda-inspired action-adventure game Hazelnut Bastille is fully funded on Kickstarter and will be coming to the Nintendo Switch. So I gave you guys a head up about Hazelnut Bastille's Kickstarter a few weeks ago on the podcast, and I'm happy to say that they reached and have since surpassed their goal of $65,000. What's even better news is that the game has been confirmed for the Nintendo Switch, even if its Kickstarter level doesn't reach the Nintendo Switch stretch goal of $110,000. So yeah, though this does sound quite confusing that they have a stretch goal of coming to the Nintendo Switch, but the devs have confirmed that it's coming to the Nintendo Switch. Whether or not it reaches the stretch goal is a little bit strange. They went into it. The devs went into it a little bit in more detail on Nintendo Life. So they said that if they reach the stretch goal, it means it will finance earlier development, especially the manufacturing of cartridges, as it's quite costly. Because they plan to bring the game physically to every console that they reach the stretch goals for. So what was I going to say? Okay, that's another story. So yeah, either way, I think it's good news. The game looks great. Again, it's heavily inspired by Zelda. I think Zelda's a link to the past. It has like beautiful 16-bit art style, which I'm always a fan of. And like I said on one of the other podcasts when we talked about it, I think there's like a gap in the market for these 2D Zelda games at the minute. Everyone buys a Switch. Everyone buys Breath of the Wild with their Switch. They love it and they think, okay, I need to play more Zelda games. I want to play more Zelda games. I want to play the backlog. But right now, Nintendo just isn't supplying or like filling that demand. So you get games kind of, like Blossom Tales and Ocean Horns, which, are Zelda clones, I guess. But
that looks so pretty.
But they're great. Yeah, they're great games.
They're great.
And this looks like another one that's going to kind of jump into that niche. So yeah, I didn't actually back the game on Kickstarter. It looked like one of those ones. I was like, yeah, when it comes out, I'll probably buy it. But I didn't.
I'm the same.
Yeah, I'm a little bit wary of Kickstarter games because, especially for the Switch, because every game on Kickstarter now is like, oh, we're bringing it to the Switch, because I think devs see the Switch as a little bit as like a gold mine, and that if they get the game on there, then it's going to be a success. But it doesn't always work like that. So story number 5 is Nidhogg 2 is coming to the Nintendo Switch very soon. So if you're a fan of couch co-op games, then boy, do I have news for you. The excellent Nidhogg 2 is coming to the Nintendo Switch on November 22nd. Do you know, have you ever played Nidhogg or seen any videos?
No, I haven't heard of it. Well, I might have, but...
So it's like a really fun multiplayer game. I think it's both...
Oh, it's that game. Yeah, I've played it.
Yeah, so it's basically you are 2 characters and you're like dueling each other. And the idea is you have to kill your character and run to their side of the screen. Then it starts the next another screen. The other character will respawn. He has to try and kill you, and it's kind of like a tug of war going backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
So you get to like a final screen where if you win, your character jumps off and you become like a sacrifice to the holy worm or something, or the demonic worm. So yeah, it's like a really fun game. There's a lot of like tactics in it. It has like almost like a rock paper scissors aspect.
It started out as a Flash game, didn't it?
Yeah. The original game, it looks very simple. The Nidhogg 2, which is the one coming to the Switch, is really, again, has like a really nice pixel art style, and like the animations look really great, like the death animations especially. It's awesome. It's really awesome that it has online as well, online multiplayer, because I feel like a lot of indie games, they just don't have online multiplayer, because I guess it takes a lot more money and dev time to develop for it. So yeah, this is like a great game I'd love to play with the community, or I'd love to play with you or Age of Boredom and make like a YouTube series about it, like because I think
that
it's
could
just
be great.
a great fun game for people to play, and
have a
it's
Switch
easy to
Indie
understand.
Fix tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Like if everyone gets it, then we could organize that, and yeah, the YouTube guys in the Discord, they could record it, and yeah, it'd be really fun.
It would be great, especially if it has spectator mode. I don't know if it's
I'm
going
not
to
sure
have.
if it. Yeah, no, but
We're
that would
thinking.
be cool. That would be a cool thing, because then everyone could watch the games live, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that. I'll put a little note here that we should look into that a little bit more. So episode story 6 in the news is Mother Russia Blees will be released on November 15th, but not in Australia or New Zealand. So because of its over-the-top violence and drug references, Mother Russia Blees will not be releasing on the Australian or Kiwi eShops. As Kotaku explains, existing console versions of this game have received an M rating from America's ESRB. This roughly aligns with the M or MA 15 plus ratings in Australia and New Zealand. PEGI has Mother Russia Blees down as an 18 plus rating. In 2013, Australia passed an R18 plus rating for video games with the aim to reduce the number of bans. Despite this rating being introduced, the bans have continued, with drug references and implied sexual violence the most common reason games are refused. While a Switch release of Mother Russia Bleeds is seemingly off limits locally, the Steam version is apparently still available to access, as it has not gone through the local classification process. So Australia has a long history banning video games, with titles like South Park: The Stick of Truth, Saint Rose 4 and Outlast 2 all failing to pass the local ratings board in Australia. Because of it, some of these games had edits made to them to kind of cut out the content that wasn't allowed or were never ever released down under. So yeah, I just think this is kind of, again, like a story. It's cool that the games come into the Switch soon. I think it's published by Devolver Digital, so they all have like a certain quality, indie game quality about them. I just think it's interesting that specifically in Australia and New Zealand, it's not allowed.
Do you know if it's banned in Russia?
I would imagine so. Yeah. Yeah, I would imagine so. It's a very like violent game, and like it's about.
But it's toon violence. There's nothing wrong with toon violence. Yeah. Why does it?
Like I was watching like a Let's Try of it, and there's the ones where you are like sucking like energy out of people with syringes and then like injecting it into you to make you stronger. Like it's
that sounds almost like what's the name?
I don't know. What's the name?
The one where you're under the sea. Fuck.
Well, I don't know.
Nah.
I don't know. It'll come back to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just think, Australians, if you really want to play Mother Russia Bleeds, then just make sure you set up eShop accounts from other regions, Even though it's banned in Australia, I think you should be, if you have a European account, eShop account, you just download it from there, which is probably good for Australians anyway, because I think it would be cheaper on there than in Australia anyway.
I mean,
and
get an eShop account in another region regardless, because it's much cheaper.
Yeah. I'm actually working on like a post about eShop games, and there's like this website that is like a comparison website for all the eShops that are available and the prices, and it like lists, okay, if you want to buy, I don't know, Legend of Zelda, it's like, okay, right now it's cheapest on this eShop, and like, I don't know with the exchange rate, you always lose a little bit of money doing that, but if you were really are kind of money savvy and want to save as much money as you can, then you should you should have a look at the website. I'll post a link down in the description. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's just like eShopComparison.com or something like that.
Probably.
And
I personally prefer having like eShop account in my own region, because then I get them Nintendo Gold coins.
Yeah, same for me. Like I have I guess you do too, an EU account, and
exactly.
The only reason really I have other accounts is if a publisher sends me a code and they only have a code available for
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
for Australia or for the UK or US, so that's why I have them for that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So and finally, number 7 is called Name That Indie Game. Travis Touchdowns T-shirts tease indie games. Indie game Easter eggs in No More Heroes, and that's kind of like a tongue twister to say Travis Touchdowns T-shirts tease. So yeah, if you maybe saw it on Twitter, Nintendo posted an image earlier this week teasing some of the indie game T-shirts that Travis Touchdown will be wearing in No More Heroes. Indies such as Holo Knight, Golf Story, Hyperlight Drifter, and 2064 Read Only Memories, and Floor Kids all get the nod. There are 19 in total posted on the image, and I only know 9. So have a look on Twitter and see if you know more than me. I think it's kind of cool. Like, I kind of class No More Heroes as like an indie developed game, but it's published by Nintendo. So maybe it's not classed as an indie game, but it's cool to see like one of Nintendo's like not big games, but more like backed games kind of involving all these other indie games on in it via these T-shirts, and maybe there's some other content in the game that kind of shows, I don't know, some indie game characters too. I think it's just like a cool nod. The T-shirts all look cool. Like I say, on my Twitter and in Discord and other places on social media, I kind of had like Name That Indie Game. So if you want to try and beat my 9, then yeah, go ahead and join the Discord or look on my Twitter and see if you can name any more of the indie games.
I can name Bit Trip Runner. That's it.
Yeah.
Is it really it?
Yeah.
It is, and then there's Hollow Knight down there, and that's the 2 I can see.
Yeah. The ones I remember there was like Brawl Out, Runner Free, Hollow Knight, Hyperlight Drifter, like I said, Floor Kids is in there, 2064 Read Only Memories,
sure.
Golf Stories in there, and there was a couple of other ones. So yeah, if you are going to play the game, don't Google it. Just look at the image and see how many you can find. And yeah, so like I said, this week I did a couple of new shout outs. The first one is N++ is getting a physical edition via Super Rare Games. It's out on November 15th with only 4,000 copies available. So if you want to get that, get the physical edition of N++, make sure you're on superraregames.com on November the 15th. Celeste developer Matt Forson teases work in progress on Twitter. It points to more content for Celeste coming in the future. I know everyone that's played Celeste is a huge Celeste fan, so I'm sure people are really excited about new content or new DLC coming to the game.
Oh, that's weird.
What's that?
Your audio has escaped me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm listening through the live stream now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay, I'll just keep talking then. Another shout out is PlayAsia's Black Friday deal has kicked off early. So if you go over to PlayAsia.com, you can save on a lot of Switch games over there and Switch accessories. There's Joy-Cons are I think 10% off. There's like Dark Souls remastered down to I think $35, and there's a lot of other like Japanese video games over there, all physical ones, all reduced down pretty low, which is cool. And the final shout out is that Limited Run announced physical Switch edition of Battle Chef Brigade. Pre-orders are live now. So that was this week's news. Like I say, quite a lot this week, which was kind of refreshing because the last couple of weeks there's really not been anything. I think with all the big AAA games coming out over the last the last month or so, indie game news has been a little bit quiet. So before we go on to section 2, just remember that the Switch Indie Fix podcast is brought to you by the Switch Indie Fix Discord server. If you love playing and talking about indie games on your Switch, then Discord is the place to be. Go to switchindiefix.com/Discord to join. That's actually, I think, where we first started talking on the Discord, Bastien.
We talked for a short while over Twitter, but
maybe on Twitter, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Swiftly went over to the Discord.
Yeah. yeah, like I really like Discord because it's I think I've said it before, it's the easiest way to kind of interact with the community. Yeah, we're getting slowly growing. I think we're close to like 40 members on there now. Obviously some are a bit more active than others. I'd like to get more active people in there to have more conversations. Obviously with the kind of holidays coming up, it's a season of big games being released, so I'm actually planning on adding a few channels. So if you love indie games but you also love Smash or you also love Pokemon, I'm going to start introducing channels for that too, where people can all talk there. Maybe a Diablo 3 one or two, because we've got a few people on there that are playing Diablo 3 and a lot of people need help. So if you are an expert on Diablo 3, make sure you come join the Discord. I know a lot of people that will be happy to have you there, because a lot of people are kind of like wading through it and don't really know what to do or how to kind of mid-max everything. So yeah, if you know a lot about Diablo or Smash as well, because I think I'll be getting Smash, and I've never played it before. So yeah, it'd be
You
cool if
haven't played Smash?
Join. No, I've played it once. I played it once at this Game City like 2 weeks ago, and I got absolutely
interesting
smashed. Yeah, yeah. Like when growing up, I wasn't really a Nintendo kid until a Nintendo fan until the GameCube, and even then, it was more about Pokemon.
Yeah.
And it's not until like now that I'm really getting into like Nintendo's other properties other than Pokemon and Mario. So this is going to be my first Smash. At first I wasn't that bothered about it, to be honest, but the more people are excited about it, the more it gets me excited. And and yeah, I've decided I'm going to get it, and I'm going to try and get good at it. And yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, awesome. So, section 2, as always, is the conversation portion. And as always, we're going to be talking about what games we played this week. So, Bastian, do you want to go first? What have you been playing this week on your Nintendo Switch, or recently on your Nintendo Switch?
My buddy went over yesterday, and we purchased Uno for the Switch. And oh my god, that game is... I mean, it's confined in the digital world, of course, but it can get crazy, and really? it was a lot of fun. We also have you tried Brawlhalla by Ubisoft?
I've never played it, but I know what it is. It's kind of like Smash, right?
It's so much like Smash. We agreed on that it's not better than Smash, but until we get actual Smash on the Switch, it's
good enough.
Yeah, it's good enough for. But I also played a lot of, as we mentioned earlier, Blossom Tales, which is amongst my favorite games. Period. Not even for the Switch, but for all consoles. Really? Cool. Yeah.
So, and what do you like so much about it?
It's the all the in-jokes from the Zelda universe. It even starts out by, have I ever told you, kids? It's a granddad who tells a story to his grandchildren, and he's like, have I ever told you about this green elf in? And then they cut him off for.
That's what I loved about Blossom Tales. Like it really wore its inspiration on its sleeve. Like it has these jokes about Link and about Zelda, and it's not like trying to hide that it's like heavily inspired by Zelda, but it's trying to be a link to the past. But what I really liked is that it did have like its own story, and I liked the kind of idea of the grandfather telling the kids, a story, and the girl, the granddaughter was the main character in the story. Like, I wonder if the next game I think it's produced by it's developed by Castle Pixel, and
it's published by Chucklefish, I believe.
No, it's published by FDG Entertainment.
Oh yeah, that's right.
German. They're a German company, and so it makes me wonder if the next game is gonna be the boy is gonna be like the main character in it, and
that would be great.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. But yeah, it's one of those games I feel like everyone who plays it loves it. It's
just so charming.
Yeah, Age of Boredom did a series on it on YouTube, which was really cool. And yeah, everyone else I've spoken to, like, I really loved it. It was sort of like the second or third game I ever reviewed, and I think I gave it like an 8 or a 9. So yeah, it's a really great game. Yeah. And anything else you've been playing?
I've played too much Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Okay. How many hours do you think you've put into it now?
I think it's about 40 by now. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. And how many shrines you at?
Enough to get the Master Sword. That's
cool.
all I remember.
Yeah, I think I got to, 100, and then that's when I decided to go and beat Ganon.
Yeah. I need the last. It's not called the Divine Beast there. I need the one in the Goron City.
Oh yeah, the one on the volcano.
Exactly.
The lizard one. Yeah. Got that game. It was so good. It's one that I've been meaning to get back to pretty much since I put it down, but it's just time wise, it's such like an investment, and now now reviewing games, like I just don't have time to put like another 100 hours into Zelda and do all the DLC and stuff like that, even though I'd love to. But yeah, so cool. You've had quite like a range of games you've been playing this week, which is nice.
Yeah.
So I have been playing, and if you follow me on Twitter, you'll probably already know, I've been playing Moonlighter, which is a game by Digital Sun and 11-bit. I think it's published by 11-bit Studios. So yeah, just kind of give you my first impressions. The art and the animation look amazing. Like it's like it's like pixel art. But the way they've animated it makes it look all so fluid, especially the attack animations look great, and it's the gameplay is like a mixture of procedurally generated dungeon crawling with like a shopkeeping kind of tycoon aspect to it. So basically what you do is you are like the owner of Moonlighter, which is this kind of shop at the edge of in this town that is famous for having these 5 dungeons. And hundreds of years ago, adventurers would come and go into the dungeon seeking treasure. But since then, because so many died, like it prevented more adventurers coming, and you basically own a shop that sells goods to these adventurers. So what you kind of decide to do to save the shop from going bankrupt is that you enter the dungeon and kill these enemies, and then you collect their items and sell them in your shop. So yeah, you basically have to go into the dungeon, kill the enemies, collect their drops, and then when you kind of had enough of the dungeon, you can basically warp out. So you warp out, go back to your shop, and then you have like when you start, you have four item places that you can sell 4 different items on, but you have no idea how much the items are worth. So you basically have to think, okay, this item I was getting quite regularly. It seems very common, so it must not be worth that much. So maybe you put it at like 20 coins or 20 gold per item. And so you set your prices, and then you open the shop, and visitors come in, and they basically have like an emoji, like angry, like kind of like disappointed, happy, or they have one where it's like they have coins in their eyes, which means that the item's way too cheap. And you're obviously trying to find like the middle ground where, you want them to be happy to buy it, but you don't want it to be cheap. It's a lot of just like trial and error. Okay, this one, I sold this item for 20 coins. Okay, they say it's cheap. So you're like, well, okay, I'll put it for 100 coins each. But then it might be, okay, now they're a bit disappointed. So then you put it down to like 95, and 95 is like the sweet spot where you can sell it for that and they're happy to buy it. But then there's also like a lot of aspects of if an item is in demand, if an item's in short supply, then you can charge more for it. And the more you get into the game, you get like rich customers that are willing to pay more for items than poor customers would be, or like not poor customers, but normal customers would be. So you basically have to put you might have one item that's way overpriced in the hopes that one of these rich guys comes along and picks it up. And yeah, it's just like it's kind of just a grind. You're going into the dungeon, grinding out enemies to get items that then you sell to buy gold. Then you use gold to like buy new weapons or upgrade your weapons. But then you also can like upgrade your town, which I really like. So then you bring like new shops into the town. Like, so you bring the blacksmith or like an enchanter. there's like a shop where you can, if you die in the dungeon, you drop all your items, apart from ones that you have in like your pockets. And there's a shop there that you can buy the items that you dropped when you died, kind of thing. And then the further you get into it, you can actually like open up a portal in the dungeon. So if you have like a full backpack, you can open up this portal, warp out, go to your shop, sell all the items, and then go back in the dungeon where you were. And right now I'm at the first dungeon's boss, and like yesterday I should have killed him, but I got like really greedy. He was like down to like a pixel of health, and I was stood in like a really stupid place, and he just like one hit me. And I was like, oh god. So then he had to start the dungeon again. But like I say, right now it like I really love it. It's really like
it sounds very
up my street.
It sounds fun.
It is. It is like. Go on.
So it's like Diablo, but 2D top down.
Yeah. It has that like loot grind.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it feels very rewarding. But for me, like I love like the pixel art. I love the colors they use and how well it looks, and like it and obviously the procedurally generated aspect of it means that it's like ultimate. What's the word in English? Not ultimately, but it's like there's so much replayability there. That you can probably play this game for hundreds of hours if you really wanted to. But yeah, there was a few issues I've had with it. Like, so I think like some of the hitboxes are kind of like off slightly. So it's like you can kind of cheese enemies if you want to. Like if you stand just to the side of them, your weapon will still manage to hit them even though they're not like directly in front of you. But that also happens with you. So sometimes I feel like I've had like hits where I shouldn't have been hit. Like I felt like I was standing far enough away from an enemy, but somehow they managed to hit me still. And the combat itself is quite challenging. But I think it's designed to be that way. Like when you start the game, they say what mode you want it on, normal, hard, or extra hard, and it says like hard is the suggested mode. So I put it on hard, and like you said about like I think games like Diablo or like Destiny, you start out with weak loot. So you the first couple of hours you get your like ass handed to you, but then the more you play, the more loot you manage to get out of the dungeon, the more money you earn. You slowly start upgrading, and now like in the first dungeon anyway, I kind of feel like a god in there because I know all the enemy patterns, I know the boss pattern, I just haven't beat him yet. So it's like a really cool, like a really awesome game. Like I really like it, and so far, it's a game I can see me playing for a long time. Like next week is Pokemon, so we'll see when Pokemon comes out. But right now I'm loving it. And the second game I've been playing is called Shadow of the Loot Box, and this is from the publishers Retalaka Games. They published Jack and Jill DX, which I reviewed recently on the blog. And there's a couple of other games. I think one called Devious Dungeon, Inksplosion. That's like another big Retalaka game. Like I think they're like a Scandinavian company, so maybe you can pronounce it.
I've never heard it.
No, okay. But anyway,
I can try.
So yeah, they sent me the code just so you know, like for when I'm giving this first impressions that they provided the code. But yeah, so it's basically a game that's like a satirical parody of modern games development. So when you basically start off in this dungeon, and all you can do is walk. Like you can't interact with anything, you can't jump, you can't run, and basically all you have to do is walk around a dungeon and find these like orbs of experience. And then when you get the orbs, you level up, and with each level, then you can unlock the run mechanic, you can unlock the jump mechanic, you can unlock the activate mechanic, and you can unlock like the fight mechanic. And yeah, the only way that you can get health or weapons is that you find loot boxes, and you open up the loot boxes, and inside is weapons or health or whatever. So it's very like tongue in cheek, like a gentle poke at the AAA game industry at the minute. There's a lot of like Easter eggs to other games. Like there's a guy who you meet on the second mission. You go to like a town, and there's a guy there that looks like what's he called, Preston from Fallout 4. You know, the Minuteman, and he's standing there with a gun, and he's like, "Oh yeah, settlement needs your help," and stuff like that. And yeah, there's a lot of like funny jokes, like, and then there's one about like a guy, he used to be an adventurer, but he took an arrow to the knee and stuff like that. It's all kind of inside baseball, like joking.
Yeah.
And yeah, each level is themed. So I think I got to level 3 or 4. The first one is like unlock, so you have to walk around this dungeon looking for experience to unlock your skills. And then the second one is like fetch quests. So you go to this town, and all these people just send you on all these like really monotonous fetch quests, and the enemies are like evil loot boxes that try to attack you and kill you, which is pretty funny. And then the third one was achievements. So you're basically in this dungeon, and it's like, okay, you have to jump 25 times, and it's like, oh, achievement unlocked, jump 25 times, or like move these boxes 10 times, and it's like, bing, achievement unlocked, you move 10 boxes. So it's fun. Like, it's if you're looking for something funny to play, like it's maybe a game for you. Other than that, I don't know who would want to play it really.
It looks like a modern. Do you know DLC Quest?
No.
You start out by only being able to walk the one way, and then you gain some coin, and then you can purchase a DLC to walk the other way.
Yeah,
so it's very tongue in cheek.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. Like it's just like a meme. The whole game is kind of like a meme, I think, which is it's pretty funny. And like, it's probably not a game I would have bought ever, like, myself, but like getting the review code, I was like, okay, I'll try it. Like I say, I just played Jack and Jill DX, and I really liked that. So I was like, yeah, you know, Retalaka or whatever they're called.
It looks Swedish.
Swedish, okay.
Yeah, I believe it's Swedish. I don't know. It doesn't say anywhere on the website or anything. But I'd pronounce it Ratalaika.
Ratalaika, okay.
Maybe.
Okay, that's easier than what I was saying, Ratalaika. So yeah, it's like I said, I think it's like, it might be a funny game to play on YouTube. It's like a YouTube series, because like I said, there are so many video game references in there, and it is pretty funny. But yeah.
Do you know if Age of Boredom has it?
I actually messaged him last night and suggested it to him, so not yet. And yeah, it's like it kind of looks a bit like Minecraft, but it's obviously not so well put together, like the pixel art. And it's a first-person shooter, and the shooting is very, very like monotonous. You know, you're just kind of kiting enemies all the time and just shooting them, and you get like, each level you get like a new gun. So you start off with a pistol and a shotgun, and then an assault rifle. And yeah, it is very monotonous. You just have like these 10 like loot box spiders running after you, and you're just kind of like walking back and trying to shoot them. So yeah, it's okay. Like it's okay if you're looking for this very specific type of game. Then yeah, why not check it out? So yeah, so I think, unless you've got anything to add, Bastien, that's section 2 finished with. As always, guys, we had a short break there as we had to reset our Instagram live video. So yeah, and which was good timing actually, because we just finished section 2. So section 3, the final section of this week's podcast, is the question section. And this week, as usual, we have 3 questions. So do you have them pulled up there?
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah.
Which one would you like to start with?
Let's just go with them in the
order?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first 2 come from Charific, who is a member of the NintenTube subreddit, and he's also in the NintenTube Discord. So thanks, Charific. He asked like a lot of questions, which is really awesome. So I'm kind of trying to break them down over the next couple of weeks, some of his questions. So yeah, thanks, Charific, for asking them. His first question he asked, and I kind of put this on here because you know, you have a YouTube channel. We both have a YouTube channel, and we're both kind of newish to it. So I thought it'd be interesting to talk about it. So Bastien, where do you want your channel to be in the future?
I'd like a bunch of subscribers. I'm kidding. Of course, we all do that. But I'd like to. My first goal in mind is just putting content out there. I'd love
Mm-hmm.
to be better at making and publishing content, because
Yeah.
currently I'm the last the last few years I've only done 2 videos a year, and this year is the first year where I have more than 2 videos,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like November and I only have 4 videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd like to be better at uploading. Um, and yeah, as we talked about earlier, I'd also love to do more gaming related stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
reviewing Switch accessories,
Accessories. Yeah.
accessories, and games could also be fun thing to talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. Would you just do Switch, or because your YouTube, it started out more of like a tech review
Yeah,
YouTube,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
So
I just general gaming
mhm.
stuff, more gaming stuff, like maybe even PlayStation 4
Yeah.
and what I have lying around.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good idea. Like to it makes it a bit more broader, but
Yeah,
then maybe there's more of an audience for if they want PlayStation content or Switch content or tech content. Yeah. For me, for YouTube specifically, I'm the same. Like I want to make more gaming content. Right now, YouTube is just used primarily as like a source for people to listen to the podcast.
yeah,
So I originally I basically used to just put the audio files up on there and then put like a background image, and that was it, because I don't think people really watch YouTube to look at our faces. They just have it on a browser in the background whilst they work, whilst whatever. So yeah, eventually what I want to do is have more like short form reviews with video capture. Like I just need to. Well, I need to get a capture card and I need to get a new computer, basically. So it's there's quite a lot of limit to entry there for me, at least. But yeah, that's what I want to do, and I want to, I don't know, use YouTube as like, I don't know, like I feel like YouTube now it's such. I think if people getting into YouTube think that they're gonna get into it and be like millionaires, and have it as like their only job.
Oh no, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Like I think you need to kind of spread out your content into as many places as possible, because I feel like now there's so many options for people to watch video game content or consume video game content that you really need to be everywhere. Like when I first started out the website, I was like, okay, I just want to do Discord and Twitter, because I'm like, yeah, they're easy to do. They're kind of what the social medias I use anywhere.
Yeah.
But the more you branch out, the more people you reach, and YouTube, I think I just want to kind of use it as like a means to get more people in. Like I say, I'm really like interested in Discord, and like I really love how Discord works and how you can just instant chat with people whenever you want to. So like, yeah, I want to try and get people there, and obviously get people to the podcast too. So yeah, in the future, I just hope that we grow. I feel like we're all in like a community together, and a lot of us are all in the same place right now. So it's nice to have other people there to kind of share these like growing pains with, and experiment with, and it's nice to have people on the podcast like yourself and like Age of Boredom and Kool-Aid when he was on. So it's just like a fun thing to do right now, and hopefully in the future it gets a bit more, at least for me, a bit more varied content on there apart from just the podcast.
Speaking of the Discord, if you're listening to this or watching this and you're not in the Discord, what are you doing? Just click the link in the show notes.
Or go to switchindiefix.com/Discord. Very, very easy URL.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, because the problem with Discord is to get like a custom URL, you have to be partnered, and the partner, we're just not there yet. So I just found it was easier to make like my own custom URL via the site and keep it simple, and it just directs people there as well. Or you can go to on my Twitter, the Discord link is in my bio. So if you want to look on there, it's at Switch Indie Fix. So Terrific's next question is, I think right now you focus on Switch games. Would you ever focus on other games, which could be from any other console? So, Bastien, you said you'd maybe do some more. You'd be interested in doing like PlayStation content.
Yeah, I also thought about doing mobile game stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, but yeah.
What do you like? What kind of game are you? Because for my PlayStation, I basically use it for like Sony exclusives now.
Yeah, same.
What do you play on there?
I'm playing Ni no Kuni, or at least trying to
Oh, really?
play Ni no
Cool.
Kuni. Yeah, the second
Yeah.
one. I don't have a PlayStation 3, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So you yeah, that's cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great game.
Yeah. I just kind of, like I say, I only play my PS4 nowadays for Sony exclusives.
Yeah, same.
Or right now, I'm actually playing Assassin's Creed on and off on there. But if I was going to write about another platform, I'd actually write about probably the PlayStation Vita.
Yeah,
Because I feel like the Vita is very similar to the Switch. Like the fan base, I think the Switch's fan base is so strong because a lot of the Switch owners are like PlayStation Vita owners that were kind of they loved the Vita and they bought games there, but there just wasn't enough content there from Sony, and that's why the Vita died. Whereas now the Switch is kind of like the new and improved Vita, but Nintendo has to support it because it's Nintendo's only console now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Vita before, it was like my indie machine. I took it on holiday with me, or I took it on the train to work, and you played all these like great indie games now that are like coming over to the Switch. But then there's also games like Persona 4 Golden and like the Sony when Sony supported it, they had like the Uncharted game on there. And
did they ever though?
Well, yeah, that's the question, right?
It was pretty dead on arrival. IMO, yeah. The Sony support, at least.
Yeah, that's it.
But I also called the Switch the spiritual successor of the Vita in my review.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with you. Like, I feel like this, if Sony could redo it, like I think this is how they'd want the Vita to be. To have like great first party games on there, but also
so
be backed
important.
up by indies as well. So yeah, that's what I'd write about, because I feel like the fan base for the Vita is very similar to the fan base for the Switch. Or like you say, like mobile games as well. There's a lot of like mobile games that have been ported over to the Switch, which I'm like so surprised at how good they are, because I think mobile gaming gets like a bad rep a lot of the time, because a lot of it is just when one game's successful, then developers just copy that game and reskin it and resell it like that. But there are games like, especially like Old Man's Journey, which was a great, I think it was originally an Android game, and then it came over to the Switch, and I played it on the Switch and like loved it on there. And Oceanhorn is another, like as we spoke about before, like a Zelda clone that was originally on mobile.
Was it?
So
I didn't know.
Yeah, originally it was a mobile game.
It has great graphics though.
Yeah. Well, I think it started on mobile, and they ported it to the Vita and to PlayStation 4, and then it came to the Switch. So yeah, cool. And the final question comes from Wannabe Reviewer. Thank you, Wannabe Reviewer, for writing in and asking. And he has like quite an interesting question. He says, if you could sacrifice one of your favorite mainstream or AAA titles in exchange for making an indie title more widespread or well-known, which game would you sacrifice to help the other? Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
You should go first. I've had a hard time thinking of this.
Okay, so like we've already said, I'm playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey right now, which I love. Like I've played nearly every Assassin's Creed game, but my favorite was Assassin's Creed 2. And I feel like they've all just gotten so much. They all feel like such like they get churned out every year that I kind of lost interest in them. But Assassin's Creed Odyssey is like, I think the pinnacle of Assassin's Creed right now. Like, it's great. Like, the story's great. It looks fantastic on the PlayStation 4. The characters. I'm playing as Cassandra. Like, I think she's such like a what's the word? She's like a well fleshed out character.
Yeah.
But I would happily trade the success of Assassin's Creed game and my enjoyment in playing it to see like an indie game and like a smaller indie game have success. And the one I kind of thought of was one of the guys I interviewed at Game City, the Diadic Games, who are the makers of Sikander. I'd love to see. I definitely sacrifice Assassin's Creed to see them have like more of a boost and more success, because though Assassin's Creed is like an amazing game and like hundreds and hundreds of people worked on it, and you know, to make it as fantastic as it is, I think like there's something almost like romantic to think of like a really small 2-man team from Graz in Austria, making like kind of like a passion project, and then having that passion project become like really successful. So I would love to kind of see them get a bit more of a push. Like they had a Kickstarter and the Kickstarter wasn't funded, which was a shame. And yeah, I think especially for smaller developers, if they get like a little bit of a push in the early stages, it gives them like a lot of motivation to be like, okay, people want this game, people like the look of it, people are interested in it. So I think it motivates them to be like, okay, I want to make it. Whereas I think if you're making a game and you feel like no one out there knows what it is, or no one even knows that you're making it, then you know, it must be so feeling. Yeah, it must be so like depressing. So yeah, wannabe reviewer, that's kind of what I'd definitely sacrifice Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because I know in 2 years there's going to be another Assassin's Creed, and it's probably going to be better than Odyssey. Yeah. So I definitely sacrifice it to see a game like Sikander get a bit more success and a bit more well known. So any ideas?
I mean, is Harvest Moon a AAA game?
Yeah, I'd say like an A game, maybe not AAA, or like a B game, but it's like a well-known franchise. Yeah, so I think you could class it.
So like Harvest Moon for Stardew Valley, I think that's a fair trade, because it's kind of like the same game, and Stardew Valley needs more love. It can never get enough love.
Yeah. Well, I feel like now Stardew Valley is like the...
Yeah, Stardew Valley is amongst the most...
Like, yeah, it's like the new Harvest Moon. It's like, you know, they released the Harvest Moon on the Switch.
They did? I didn't even know.
Yeah, or maybe it's not out yet. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure they released one though, and, you know, it kind of has like 3D graphics and stuff, but it just doesn't look good. You know, it looks like a cheap kind of... not a flip, but just like it just doesn't look quality. Whereas Stardew Valley, I think, I don't know. Have you ever read the book Blood, Sweat and Pixels by Jason Schreier?
No.
Where it's like, and I think, I don't know if I spoke about it with Age of Boredom, but they have a chapter in there about Stardew Valley and the development, and how, like, you know, the one guy, I can't remember his name, but he built it all himself over 4 years. Yeah. He basically like quit his job and was going through like, you know, a lot of it was like a really hard 4 years for him. Like he said, he was so depressed because he just didn't feel like he was good enough to make the game he wanted to make. And when people started getting interested in it, he said like there was so much pressure on him to produce the game that everyone else really wanted.
Yeah.
That he just felt like he couldn't do it. And then he said that when it released, by the end, I think it was like the end of the first week or something, he had like $27 million sat in his bank account.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And, you know, and I feel like now, like in the interview Jason Schreier did with him, it was, he still kind of had like this like imposter syndrome where he didn't feel like he still was like, oh, I don't know why it was so successful. Like, it
but
was
it's
like
so
a fluke.
great.
But everyone who plays it loves it. And, I guess that is like a case of one of those stories where, Harvest Moon is kind of like dipped in quality over the years.
Yeah.
And the guy who developed Stardew Valley saw that and was like, well, I want to make my own Harvest Moon game. And he did it and probably made the best Harvest Moon game there is. And it kind of shows in how well Stardew Valley sold. And, you know, I think it just came out on mobile as well. Like it's always in the top 10.
Yeah, it's just released on iPhone.
Game. Yeah. So it must just be raking in money, which is great for that developer for putting so much of his life into it, and it been such a success for him. So yeah, so that was our question section for the week. Thank you to Sharific and Wannabe Reviewer for writing in. Remember, if you would like to ask us a question or ask me a question next week, go to switchindiefix.com/SIF podcast. There's just a really simple Google form. You just put in your username and just write your question, and maybe I will read it out on next week's show. So, Bastien, that was episode 14 of the Switch Indie Fix podcast. I want to thank everyone for watching and listening and downloading wherever they downloaded. I want to thank you, Bastien, for joining.
Oh, you're welcome.
I had a really awesome time recording with you, so thank you. And just a reminder to everyone, where can they find your YouTube and content if they want to look for...
Well, the easiest way to
Switch
find
review.
any of my content is by following me on Twitter. It's Bastian Inuk. BASTIANINUK. It's one word.
One word, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So, like I said before, I'll post a link to your YouTube and I'll post your Twitter down in the description.
Great.
And yes, so the podcast will go up on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and YouTube as soon as I can after the show. Please be sure to review it or like it wherever you can and share it. If you have friends that you know have a Nintendo Switch, then maybe suggest it to them and see if they like it too. If you'd like to get in contact with me, or if you have any feedback about the show or about anything to do with Switch Indie Fix, hit me up on Twitter at Switch Indie Fix, or go to Instagram at Switch Indie Fix, and you can get in contact with me there. Or, as we've said a few times in this episode, make sure you join the Switch Indie Fix Discord at switchindiefix.com/Discord. So for more reviews, including my latest review of Jack and Jill DX, go to switchindiefix.com and leave me a comment letting me know what you think. So thanks again, guys, for watching, and I'll see you, or you'll hear me next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye.